What is up, guys, and welcome to the Nexus podcast. We are here today to celebrate our champion, Harry. Congratulations, Harry. You won the pre-release this weekend just gone. How do you feel, buddy?
Pretty good, man. I mean, I think there was a pod a couple weeks ago where you asked us what our targets for the year were, and I was like, oh, it'd be nice to win one, you know. So yeah,
Smashed
ticked
it
that off my bucket list pretty quickly.
Oh yeah,
feels good.
Yeah, you still celebrating? I saw you had a little beer in hand.
Yeah, a little brewski celebration time. Yeah, I think we got most of our celebrating out the way on the Saturday night
before you'd even won. Yeah, jeez. Insert clip now, Emmy. All right, there you go.
Yeah, I don't think it's safe for podcast any clip that we have from Saturday night.
I mean, you just put a split second in there, you know, just for effect.
Wow, and Marv had 2 birthdays in 1 year. It was excellent, amazing stuff.
Yeah, but that's for the OnlyFans. But anyway, Emmy, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm recovering. Apparently being in a room with 1,000 people does, mean that you're risking your health at time, even though you're careful and you wash your hands and I got like I don't know, a bit of fever or whatever. Feeling 100%.
Tournament lurgy. It's commonplace. You know, last year it was the same, really. But no, I hope you feel better soon, Emmy. What about you, Kieran?
Yeah, good. Decent tournament for myself as well.
Very
feeling
nice.
all right.
Top eight for Kieran. So congratulations,
feeling
bud.
all right. Thank you. Still haven't adjusted to the losing 1 hour sleep from the weekends, but we're getting there.
It was more like gaining 1 hour of party for us, but great weekend all round. All 4 of us have qualified for Pro Tour, guys, so we will see you wherever that may be. Hurry up, Bandai, we need to book flights at this point. But yeah, a great showing. So we're just gonna quickly run through how it went for each of us, and then Harry's going to give us an in-depth dive to his deck and how it all went. So I came 23rd, so I'll go first. We'll descend. I sound like I'm making excuses, but no, I was pretty unwell on the day. When I arrived, I had a lot of people relying on me because of the locals. There was like cards that people needed. So there was no way that I could pull out even if I wanted to stay in bed. But yeah, no, I had some stomach issues, let's say. But yeah, I persevered. I got 23rd, one above you, Aaron Hadfield, which was my main target of the day, was to beat Aaron. So I'm just kidding. Love you, buddy. But yeah, no, I was playing Hydra, which is probably no surprise. I've been playing it on a few things. I didn't do too well, in my opinion. I mean, it was very close, the games I had. I went 3-3 in the end anyway, and I was the highest 3-3 as far as tiebreakers went, so that pretty much stuck me straight in to the top 32, which obviously I was happy about because that was my target, as said on the previous podcasts. So I'll quickly go through my matchups. My first game was against Chris from Jesters, actually. Shout out to Jesters, our local sponsor. He was playing Hydra as well. I rolled the Hydras. GG. Quick game. We were both commenting about how much we enjoy playing Hydra and how it's like the most fulfilling deck to play. And yeah, sarcastic. But second game was a real tight game, but again, I pretty much high rolled playing against purple, so that was also pretty quick, about 20 minutes long, so not too shabby. Third game I played against 4, and I basically had some bad luck, really. He was, he's obviously the king Nova player, and he'd obviously done a bit of testing against Hydra. He drew a hell of a lot of cards. I think he played we played 2 games. He beat me 2-0, and I think he played 9 draw spells in the 2 games. So you can imagine how many Iras and Novas were there at his disposal. Came close in the game 2, but I started to feel quite ropey at that point. And then game 4 was me versus Kieran. Nexus team kill. We basically had another mirror match. It was incredibly close. Kieran played a frog which milled my top deck of a Hydra, which would have won me the game. So it was perfect play really on his part. Typical Hydra things. 2-1 there, and yeah, I didn't mind too much losing to Kieran. Then the next game after that, I played against Ira again, and I got smashed again. I don't know. My luck against Ira was not good on the day. In testing, it wasn't so bad. But yeah, no, they were just really seeing all the goods there. So well played to him. And my final match was against Matt G, and it was the most horrific match I've ever had. As far as I felt bad. We were both playing for our pro tour spot. Shout out to Matt, he's a lovely man. But yeah, pretty much I killed him on 10-3 both games with Hydra. Just absolutely high rolled to hell. He just saw his boss monsters in both games, and it was horrendous. We both kind of just burst out laughing because of how stupid it was. It was like I think a 7-minute round or something. I was obviously relieved at that point because I was sick as a dog. But pleased just to get my Pro Tour invite. And yeah, no, it was good to see everyone. And I'm sorry if I wasn't 100%, guys. I did perk up a bit towards the end. Shout out to Andre for his medicine.
Sends you bean vibe. Right up.
Exactly. Yeah, it's nothing like a teammate to help perk you up.
You said that you weren't feeling that well. I've never seen you like looking that sick. I was very worried to the point that I suggested you would leave. Kudos for staying and pulling it through. And
yeah, I mean,
even
I was honestly
well,
even after two games, I was like, I'd won the 2 games. I still wanted to leave. I just felt in pain, but I really wanted that Pro Tour invite, so I just persevered. I was really hoping that I could just beat Kieran, and then I would have been fine for the rest of the day. I would have been able to just not have to stress, but left it down to the wire. But yeah, no, Hydra came through. Hydra felt sorry for me in the last game. It was like, you've pushed through, and I'm just going to give you a free win here. So yeah, no. Very pleased, like I say, to get to Pro Tour. I can't wait to spend more time with the boys. So we'll go up to Emmy, who won up to me. Obviously, I was the highest 3-3, so he was 4-2. And I think you came, if my memory serves me well, 18th or 19th.
That's right, 18th. At the end, I did go 4-2. I played a red list. It was a Iron Nova. I was meaning the Tricera, which I shared previously. I love, and actually pull a lot of weight. I love that card. I am not super stoked with the result. It didn't go bad, but I was pulling up the Limitless. The first game was against Purple. I was heavily kitted against Purple, so I play red because we've seen, obviously, Hydra was expected. Purple did well, White Aggro did well, so red felt super well positioned based on testing. I tested with Andrew as well. Shout out to Andrew. We tested with with his Hydra list, and Red did really well. So first match was against Luke Wilson. Shout out to the Milton Keynes team that was heavily represented. I think 10 people came through, so shout out to them. Luke, I think, was also mentioned, like, he was pretty new to purple, played really well. But I was playing red, which is already like fairly advantage, but I had 3 reach of fire inside, so I was fairly advantage. I got that first game. Second game, I was against Alex. Alex, who's Thomas's brother. Thomas got second place. Alex was playing as Mag Ramplist, which is probably similar to the one that went undefeated in NA. First game, I won in 13 minutes, and I was trying to rush him down before the ramp gave him like the big cards, which happened in game 2 where Miduk came down, which was my biggest fear. And unfortunately, I did an ancient draw, and I bottom decked 2 dream bombs. So at that point, the game was lost. I was trying to see how far I could go, but that was over. And
draws and the pollens. I mean, there's a lot of horror stories with pollen this weekend as well. Me included. I know Kieran has some as well for sure. Like,
yeah. But yeah, Alex ended up getting the game 3. I think super good game. One thing that I was really frustrated with was, I think he was running something like 10 to 15 when summoned, and I never saw Star Blast to set, and that I think really kind of tempered my chances of winning. Round 3 was, I think, my biggest lesson. One of the biggest lessons as a tournament player, which kind of links to a previous experience with Kieran as well in Utrecht, which is I don't perform well under pressure. So what happened was I was against Aaron, and as it happens towards the end of the round, people go and sit and look at games, and we had people sit down next to us commentating actually the game, and I didn't thought about just asking people to move. And essentially what happened was I just had one line, and I channeled tunnel vision on one line, which was confront a spirit away, and I just misplayed twice in a row. Kudos to Aaron for he was dead on the board, but he kept his composure, and capitalized on my misplay. And also is obviously a great friend of ours. He was super nice. After the game, actually asked me if I was okay, because I was super nervous. So yeah, shout out to Aaron. He got that game. So yeah, one thing I would say is when something like this, when something happens in a tournament and you feel frustrated with yourself, try to, take the lesson and just move on. I think that's my biggest take from the tournament and from this past year of competitive tournaments, I think. So I tried to shake it off and then move forward. I had Jamie next. Big at Jamie. He is the only one that got a game out of me, out of all my wins throughout the day. So he was playing Nova. I just saw my Nova at the right time and my RS at the right time. Game 5 was against David, who was playing Hydra. And game 1, they opened Pollen and milled 3 Ice Shield, 1 Dream Bomb, and I think 1 Deadly Balance. And they looked at me and they went, I lost the game. And that's what happened. So yeah, Pollen can be a bit of a nightmare at times. It was a really great game. I won 2-0. Both games they played an elephant, and I had to battle trick my way out from avoiding popping it with some Nova swings to clear the rest of the board, and then flashing burning forces and stuff, taking cores off of Nova, avoiding crashing the elephant. That was a good game. And then final game against Ben from from Croydon. Shout out Play Nation Croydon. So Ben was playing purple again. I was really advantage there. I think first game I managed to put down a Nova at the right time. Second game I had my 3 ritual fires, and it got really close second game, but I managed to sneak a victory. So yeah, final score 4-2. I think I was definitely aiming higher. Got 18th. Ayumu, Enoch, and I tested together. We all ended 4-2. We ended 17th, 18th, and 19th. So we had a nice group hug at the end for missing top 16, even though we realized the price was no difference. So maybe we can talk about that at some point. But shout out to Ayumu and Enoch for all the testing and all the support and everyone else that helped leading up to the tournament. But yeah, that was me. I think we have.
All right, so yeah, Kieran.
Yeah.
Kieran, if you wanna talk about your experience, you actually one-upped on EMEA there and went 5-1, putting yourself into the top 8.
Yep.
So if you want to take us through your journey, let's go.
Absolutely. I played the big blue menace himself, Hydra. I pulled a slightly larger than average frog at locals a few weeks ago, and I decided, well, that's one frog pulled. Let's buy the other 3. So shout out to the Nexus locals. Josh ripped that open for me on the stream. Very hype moment. Yeah, so round 1 I played against Mark Ward. I've played against him before. He was on Hydra, so it was the Hydra mirror, which, as Josh has described already, it's a very fun, skill-intensive matchup of who can play better. I won 2-0 because I am the better player, apparently, in the mirror. And then it was like, this is when it started getting, like, I saw all the boys. Round 2 I played against Marv. Marv was on purple. He didn't have too much experience with purple, so he was kind of feeling out the deck on the day. There was a really crucial turn on game 1 when I had I think I had 4 cores. I put a burst down. He had Draganaga. He played Shaznik, swung, and then I went down to 5 cores, flipped up the burst, Floodstream, and blew up his board. And he just kind of didn't really recover from that. And then I think Normanguard came down. I was playing the Normanguard Hydra variant, and then it kind of just got value for me. So that was a 2-0. Round 3 I played against Harry himself, the champ. That's the first Nexus podcast. Harry, he 2-0'd me. What can I say? It's one of those things where, like, the Hydra versus Iron matchup is relatively 50-50, I think, for the most part, of who can kind of high roll. And I think whenever I played a Nexus, it just didn't last a single turn. Harry's list, as he'll cover, plays a lot of Nexus removal, very well prepared for the format. And in Hydra, if you have no Nexuses, it's really, really tough to even play against Red. So I don't think it was too close. I don't remember it being that close. And then round 4, we decided to do another Nexus podcast, as Josh mentioned. Me and him played. Josh looked like death himself. He was not ready for a tournament, that guy. But yeah, managed to win 2-1. So I was kind of hoping maybe I play against EMEA, get the Nexus podcast trio, but that never happened. I played against George on round 5. Palu, I think, from Greece. Shout out to the Greece gang. They came over. A lot of people just didn't come over to the UK preseason, but Thor and them lot brought pretty much their entire locals over. It was against an Ira. I think Hari played him the round before as well, because he was talking to me. So yeah, he played against Hari and he played against me. So there's a lot of like Nexus podcast boys today. Really cool Ira list. I managed to win 2-0. Again, my previous round I lost against Hari 2-0, and then I beat an Iro 2-0. That's how the matchup goes sometimes. Nothing really too skill intensive. And in round 6, to wrap it up, I play against Frankie. you know, it was just a boys event. Frankie was on white aggro, that menace. There was a lot of white aggro at Wolverhampton. I think everyone can kind of attest to that, especially Jamie. Shout out to Jamie. Round 1 white aggro into round 2 white aggro. Yeah, Hydra against white aggro is really weird. It really is like, do you see Floodstream / Raiding Tide in the top portion of your deck or not? If you're like me, and in all 3 games you only see one Floodstream and that's it, the answer is no. Harry, that matchup was just tough. There was a turn, I think in the very last game, where he passed, I think, 2 turns in a row, and like literally like nothing on board, 2 turns in a row passing. I think I had a Hydra and like 4 other spirits on the field, and I was thinking, do I swing here? Do I go for game? You know, what's the worst that could happen here? But you know, like when they're playing that defensive, you know, okay, it's gonna be a Thorn Prison, maybe a Dream Bomb as well, and kind of so I have the crackback. I was so close to attacking that turn. I didn't, and then the next time I played another Hydra and went for game, and basically Frankie and Aaron Aaron was watching the game, and basically they just showed me that if I was to attack that previous turn, I would have lost the game entirely, even with having Hydra plus 3 spirits on board, because I think Frankie had like, I think it was like lethal Thorn Prison and something else. I just was not expecting that. And then we decided to play. Yeah, so for those who don't know, the Wolverhampton event was top 8 cut. 63 players, by the way. Shout out, because that's pretty much our year 1 numbers. So turns out you don't need cash prizing to get people to come play your game over here anyway. Yeah, so it was 6 rounds of Swiss into top 8. We played the first round of top 8 on the day. That tournament, by the way, finished really fast. Like, they were pumping out rounds. The timer was starting before I'd even finished shuffling up every single round. They were just, but yeah,
we didn't even have a break, did we? It was just 6
no.
rounds, 55 minutes per, straight through.
I think we were done by 3-ish.
No, it was 4 p.m. 3:40, something like that. Yeah, but it's like the quickest tournament ever for sure.
It was insane, and everything.
I actually had time to go and have a nap before going out, so that was how quick it was.
I think it's a testament to also the meta kind of being very fast paced. I mean, a few games went to time still, but like it was nowhere near as many timed matches as what we were used to.
It was like 1 or 2 per round instead of like 8 to 10 per round, which makes it so much easier for everyone and the judges and stuff. So yeah, it was definitely a much quicker paced tournament, which was sick.
And then my top 8 match was against Thomas. So top 8, for those wondering, were 2 Hydras, 2 Iras, 2 white aggros, a white tempo, and a purple. So pretty diverse format as well. I played against Thomas, and I lost 2-0. We had a very, very close game 2 where literally I had nothing on board whatsoever, and it was near the end of the game, and then I managed to go into a Nexus, into a Cthulhu Shark, blow up the board, and then I managed to swarm like a bunch of guys down, and kind of stabilize. It came down to, does he have the combination, and it had to be the exact combination of 6-drop, Ira, Big Bang Energy, and unfortunately he whipped the Big Bang off the top and went for game. Fair play to him. So that was me knocked out of top 8 cuts. Which
still
is
a fantastic showing though. So well done, Kieran.
It is.
You know, like you said, the only difference was a really low quality playmat with a terrible design. So it's not really a big deal. But yeah, no, congratulations, buddy, and yeah, exciting to see you get to Pro Tour as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, on round 2, when we were all sitting next, like we actually had a round where all 4 of us, we were playing different games but all sat next to each other, and for me the writing was really on the wall at that point that we were definitely going to be team killing in some sort of manner, like and obviously yeah, Kieran, I was even saying when I saw Kieran and Harry play, I was like, I'm playing one of whoever, you know, I'm playing one of those 2 guys next round, and sure enough. But yeah, no, you had a last comment there?
I did. One person I absolutely just wish them the worst life ever is Heart Princess Pollen. Absolutely hate that card so much. I've never whiffed so much in my life, and it oh man, better left unsaid, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it. For those who said Hydra isn't a high roll deck, they haven't played Pollen enough. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, let's get to the main event, shall we? So, congratulations to our champ Harry. Harry, do you want to go through your deck first, or do you want to go through your day first?
Yeah, I'll go over the deck a bit first. So,
All right. Well, let's switch to the deck screen then. All right, so we're here with Harry's deck list. I'm going to do my best to basically feature a card as you talk about them. So go ahead.
Sweet. So yeah, I guess firstly in terms of like why Ira, I wouldn't say it came towards like thinking of what the best deck would be. I think we all sort of forecasted Hydra to be the best. It just sort of came from like preliminary testing. You know, we played a bit with Hydra, we played a bit with Ira, played a bit with Frost Tiger, a few other things, and it was just like, well, what do I like? Like, as strong as Hydra is, like, I just didn't really like it. Like, it felt a bit too one note and like really dependent on Hydra. Frost Tiger was pretty cool, but Ira inverting the white matchup made it a bit precarious as well. I like green a lot, but you know, Bark Maidens aren't cheap and Tokuas aren't cheap. It ended up just being simpler with Ira, and what I like about Ira as well is that it does sort of rejuvenate the experience of playing red. I think Kieran and Emmy will relate, in having played red a lot themselves. Like last year, you played red for about 2-3 months, and then you were sort of just done with it. Like you knew what it was. You could pick it up if you needed to, but it didn't really differentiate itself in terms of how it played, whether it was Terror or Star Dragons. Like there were minor differentiations between the two, but red largely just played as red. Whereas now with the introduction of Ira, it did feel it felt powerful, obviously, but it also felt like a worthwhile investment. Like I think Ira has room to grow across the format. It can be applied in a bunch of different ways. For example, Enoch's list, where it was more like a green tempo list, but the 4-drop Swift Bird is treated as a 7 cost when you ascend over it, so you can still ascend into Ira, get the pop effect. His list was really cool, so stuff like that made me lean towards Ira. Also, Jamie, my teammate, shout out Jamie, he's been playing red the whole time, so he did get Mandalas recently, and like Mandala was weirdly like my second choice just because I really like it, but then I'd have to teach him Mandala from the beginning when like he already knows how to play red, he already knows how to play Star Dragon, so it made sense to that end. So yeah, at that point we had a pretty decent just sort of red structure going. We did some preliminary testing again. I think you know, in terms of secondary nexuses aside from Canyon, people were running Ruby Sanctuary just for the quick reduction. Enoch was trying West Stars are Born as well, which you know would whiff quite a lot of the time. Star Alto we saw from the Greek list as well. That was pretty cool. But in the end, Scorch just proved to be really good. Scorch is still Scorch, and I think we saw that in the locals game that we featured on YouTube, me v you, Josh, where like I didn't see Canyon, but I saw Scorch, and Scorch still provided a lot of value. Saw it in the finals against Thomas as well. Like Scorched, even at 1, was still putting in a lot of work. So having that as the secondary nexus was pretty good. And then similarly, I will say one thing. This could be like the little caption is, I was wrong about Ancient Draw. I was wrong about it, and I didn't realize until I was like, oh, like you just run 4 of it. And the reason is that even if you whiff and bottom deck your stuff, you still know where it is. And if you cast 4 throughout the game, it's like, say the first Ancient Draw you cast, there's an Ice Shield in there. It's like, oh no. Well, then I'm going to cast 3 more, and I know exactly where that Ice Shield is. It's only bad if you reveal 2 Ice Shields. So I think I said in one of the podcasts that bottom decking the Ice Shields was equivalent to milling it. As Kieran can attest with the Polon, that's not the case. Like, bottom decking Ice Shields, especially with Ira and red in general, when you're very feasibly able to draw through your whole deck against slower decks. Like, no, you will see those Ice Shields. And moreover, you'll know exactly when those Ice Shields come. So, yeah, to that end, the structure felt pretty generic to be honest. Like I just think there were a few different choices in terms of the ratios. Like again, having played red a lot, like you don't want to skimp on the spirits too much. I think like 24 is a good sort of baseline to have it. Like maybe you can go down to 23 or 22, but you do run the risk of not having enough spirits, even with Blazing Boar to do some toolboxing potentially. And so yeah, I guess in terms of the list, aside from that, the early game, like Dino Man, we ran it at the start, then took it out to try other things, and in the end just found that we missed it. And particularly since we were forecasting a more aggressive format, not really for Hydra, but more for white aggro. And in the games I played against white aggro, the Dino Man single-handedly won me those games. Just opening it like slows them down a turn or two, and that's enough. Like even if they've alchemist it later, like it will buy you one turn at least. It's so good. And even just in conjunction with Ira, like you do an Ira play, nuke your board, like you often just want that quick extra attacker to put out alongside it, and then the Ira will fully discount Dino Man. It's quite difficult for them to respond to. So big up Dino Man, as good as it's always been, I guess. Just a very good card overall. And then yeah, I guess like so for the techs, like those came in late on. I mean, Bacillus and Impaler Forest we had mained throughout our sort of local cycle. Like I said a while back, like I like to main stuff that I intend to side in the run up to a tournament. So then right before the tournament we did have Bacillus sided. Impaler Forest stayed mained just because if you're not against red or something really aggressive, like you will be able to proc Impaler Forest, and it just completely dictates the late game if it's allowed to. Being able to recur Blazing Boar into any of the red stuff means you can discard very freely with Volcanic Canyon without having to worry about losing an Ira or a Nova, because you're just able to get it back later. But dropping the Bacillus ended up being problematic. So the night before we played some test games with Kieran. Shout out Kieran, our yellow master. And in those games I did just feel that Bacillus was too important. Like you have to main it. Having it and Impaler Forest just single-handedly solve so many matchups where otherwise they could put out something that's stronger than 10k and has double symbols. Most of the symbols are able to get above 10k, so just having Bacillus really solves that, especially the mirror, as one core Ira is only 5k. So you're able to Bacillus, Nova, kill 2 Ira if they put that out. I played 2 Ira matches, the final and round 4, and Bacillus won me 3 out of 4 of the games. Like it was ridiculously good to that end, and also just good overall. And then yeah, I guess finally there was base Nebula Dragon. We only thought of that the night before, and I was very grateful that Jamie brought them along with him because I didn't. And again, that came from playing Kieran, who's like a very proficient yellow player and knows the matchup well, to where if you're playing against someone experienced in the Ira matchup, they're going to be conservative in terms of committing spirits to board, similar to an Infernal Bacillus matchup where it's like you're going to try and maximize value out of 1 or 2 spirits without overcommitting to get blown out by Ira. And so in those situations, just having Neb Dragon as a quick way to apply 2 damage pressure seemed very appealing. Obviously we hadn't tested it, like we just sort of chucked it in. But yeah, the Neb Dragon ended up being very solid as well. And then yeah, I think in terms of the side, like our approach to Hydra was just to bring in a lot of Nexus removal that also applied to like aggro white and stuff like that as well. Feral and Burning Force was really good. Nemesis was more for the like control matchups. Extra copies of Grey for aggro stuff as well. As against most matchups, 2 Grey was fine, but obviously if you're playing against aggro white or something, like you just want to see it immediately, so you just go up to 4. Second Impaler, again, more for the mirror, but also just for control in general to ensure that you see it. And then Gun Knight Heavy Barrel, the little sleeper, like that was so good. So before we sided Countersword, like I think most people sided Countersword for Ira. And Countersword was pretty good for people when they played it against me, but it wasn't that definitive. It was like, it was okay. I think it could have been better for most people when they Countersworded me. But Gun Knight is pretty emphatic as just like, okay, well, if you Ira, it goes to the bottom of the deck. And the bottom of the deck is worse than putting it on top of the deck. Like, you put it on top of the deck, it's like, okay, I want it to be on top, sick. Whereas bottom of the deck, you're like, oh no, I'm never seeing that. And yeah, in my round 4 match, I ended up having the Gun Knight. It went off, bottom decked his Ira. And then that same turn, I put it back on top of my deck with Impaler Forest, and it was just like, just the little Gun Knight loop was really good. So yeah, I guess that covers the deck mostly. I guess the only other thing was like the second Scorched over the fourth Ancient Draw was a big debate up until the time of, but I just felt the 4 Ancient Draw was good.
Yeah. So what would you say the MVP card was of the day, for the Swiss at least? Like the card that turned the tide most and gave you the win.
Well, Ira, I guess.
Yeah, Ira over Nova.
Yeah, I was very fine. Like most Ira lists ran 3 and 3 on the day, I think. I found in testing that the third Nova was often quite superfluous. And as Emmy knows, I've only got 2 Saga Nova, so that was a big contributor towards the decision. But no, I think two Nova was fine. And like Ira at 4, like we made that decision a long time ago. Like we tried 3, and it's just like, no, like you want to see it. If you have too many of it, just discard it for Canyon, it's fine. But like really seeing it is what gets you going. But yeah, I would say the sort of standout cards were Dinoman, again, for sure. Like Dinoman was really, really good. Rubeus is just kind of obvious. Like you should just run it. Very, very good. The Bacillus again, the Impaler Forest again, Nebula Dragon again was good. And
so pretty much the whole deck, basically.
Actually, Ancient Draw as well. Like it was surprisingly good. Again, like even if you're whiffing it, it's like, well, I know it's on the bottom of my deck. Like if you cast 2 Ancient Draw on bottom deck 2 Ice Shield, you're like, okay, I'm going double Canyon. We're going Kaioken mode. Like we need to see it.
Yeah, it makes sense. All right, so yeah, thank you for the insight into your deck, Harry. And now we'll go through your matchups. Switching back to the main
Just
room.
a quick question. Well, we'll take question against like we have questions from the viewers, but like something super quick. Feral Slash over Burning Force. So you have 3 Feral Slash and 1 Burning Force. Yeah, can you just like, and also you have 2 Burning Force inside and 1 Feral Slash inside. So just your anti-Nexus game, how did you come to that conclusion?
Yeah, so the Feral felt more favorable, just because of Hydra mainly. Like it gives a good way around Seabed if you need it. Also against like aggro white. Burning Force is still good, hence we sided more of it, but it's just like a free pop. And yeah, going into it the day before, we had like the full 12 in, like we had the extra 3 Burning Force. I went 3 and 1 just because like Feral, you don't want to have like 2 or 3 of it in your hand. Like seeing 1 is enough. So the copy of Burning Force did complement it nicely. I think you said this like months ago, Emmy, when I had like 4 Feral in one list, and you were like, you might as well go 3 and 1. So that has been a red trademark of the boys ever since. And then yeah, like it just felt that, especially for red, like yeah, you could go with Floodstream, you could go with Raging Tide, but like you might as well stay on color if you're trying to side against the more aggressive things. So the Burning Force made sense against Hydra and aggro, which was what we were most concerned with. It was just that the day before I was like, I don't know, I might as well side Deadly Balance, I guess. I just chucked it in there. Like it was okay. Like I don't think I ever got much out of Deadly Balance or Dream Bomb, but yeah, the Ferals and Burnings were fine. So
all right, Harry. So yeah, if you want to take us through your 6 rounds and then your finals, and yeah, give out any shout outs and all that kind of jazz.
Indeed. So as was mentioned earlier, Jamie had a pretty rough start playing 2 white aggro, including the white aggro master himself, Aaron. I had sort of the opposite start where I played against 2 purple, which is pretty favorable for Ira. Sampo was the second one. There was game 1 did get pretty close. He got me down to 1 life, but I just had the heal at the right time in both games, and again, you're continually killing the Nexuses. It's pretty difficult for them to stabilize. Also, shout out Natalie, a new member to the group chat in round 1. She had the terrible misfortune of playing both me and Jamie and getting Nebula Dragon for game against both of us. So again, base Nebula Dragon put in a surprising amount of work. But yeah, the purples were pretty favorable for the Ira. So then yeah, round 3 played against Kieran. Obviously a bit of squeaky bum time, as he said. The Hydra Ira matchup is pretty 50-50 either way. Kieran probably had a humble recollection of that match. He failed to mention just how unlucky he got. He got ridiculously unlucky, particularly game 1, where he summons 2 Polon, mills no Nexuses, and ends up milling 3 Hydra. So it was a weird game 1 in that I also did not see a Canyon, a Star Blessed, an Ancient Draw, a Scorch, anything. So like I saw no draw, but obviously he milled his main win condition. So eventually, yeah, I did win. And then game 2 was like the reverse, where as he said, I just kept sniping his Nexuses, and then he shows me his hand at the end, and it's just 3 Hydra with no Nexuses. Like, yeah, sure.
Wild.
But yeah, that was part of the logic in terms of running red, I guess, is that it can keep pace with with Hydra, and sniping the Nexuses constantly is annoying for it. So yeah, unlucky Kieran. Didn't mean to team kill like that, but
it happens.
Yeah, it happens indeed. Then round 4, I played against George, who was also playing Ira. He was playing what we'll call the Greek variant, I guess. So he had Star Altar. He was running Ray Needle over Rubeus because they were running Andrometeos, so it's an extra Star Dragon to get off it. I very nearly ran Ray Needle over Dynaman myself. I do stan Ray Needle a lot. Just getting that free to play to discount on your combo turns is really good. But yeah, it mostly came down to the game 1. Like it was a 30-minute game 1 or something, and there was like his last turn was doing a big bang play. He summons 2 Ira and a Nova, and one of the Iras was level 3, one of them was level 2, and the Nova was level 2, so there was no way that I was clearing the board. But then I go backless Ira to kill his Nova, and then my own Nova swing kill both his Ira, and that was just it. So again, backless, absolutely goated. And then yeah, like I said, game 2 I had the heavy barrel Impaler Forest loop. I never would have thought that would have been a thing in 2024, but here we are. So yeah, that was pretty clutch. Then yeah, round 5 was against White Aggro. I think was it Daniel was his name. He's been at a few tournaments, good guy. And again, it was 2-1. I think he was the first one to take a game off me. But yeah, it's just like the White Aggro matchup is very much just like, do you draw Dynaman firstly? Yeah, cool. And then if you get a bit of time in which to increment out a Nexus or cast a draw spell or 2, like hopefully you see the recovery combo, which I did. And like Ira really blows that matchup out as well. Like before, Heavy Tank Curiosity could put in a lot of work in terms of sponging Nova swings to keep a board stabilized, but nah, Ira just yeets all of it on site. So yeah, pretty emphatic when you don't get wombo comboed. So and then yeah, the last round was against our Play Nation buddy. Shout out Play Nation, absolutely smashed this tournament. We played against Mr. Spyro himself. So we were both EXO at this point, it didn't really matter. But yeah, game 1 he absolutely just throttled me. I just got Hydra obliterated. Then game 2, Kieran, I don't know the name of the 7-drop beauty. Do you know what it's called?
Syntheria.
Syntheria.
Symphotheria or something.
Yeah. Unlike this artwork, right? Like Ira was not gobbling her up that easily. Like she was getting gobbled up, coming back. It was very effective at stalling me out. Because if not for her, it would have just been like board decimated, bunch of useless Nexuses on board. But it really let him maximize the value out of those Nexuses and slow me down. So it was quite difficult.
So how it works is when she's played, she plays a 10k golem, and when she's destroyed, you can destroy a blue Nexus to replay her.
It's just destroy a Nexus.
A Nexus, yeah,
cool, excellent. So
and by the way, when you play her, you don't pay the cost. She plays herself for free back from the drop.
Oh, very nice. So so it's free of charge, and you get 2 bodies on board on destroy. So yeah, very, very nice tech there from Josh, and I'm sure you'll be able to see more of that in Kieran's interview with him, which will be coming out some point soon. But yeah, very cool. So would you say that was sort of pivotal in helping him keep hold of the matchup?
Yeah, for sure. I think ultimately, I mean, I lost because I'd won, but then I didn't play the 0 drop because he had 1 card in hand, and I was like, whatever, it's over anyway. And then he ends up like ancient drawing into Hydra, milling me 9, and I'm like, oh, I had the 0 drop in. Like, could have just played the 0 drop. Whoops. But yeah, it was a close game. Like, I had to go double canyon, so I was always running the risk. But yeah, should have won that game. Should have just played the 0 drop, and then I would have won. But alas, it happens.
I mean, like you said, you'd already qualified there. So 5-1, second place in Swiss, I imagine.
Yeah.
So, and then you played your first game in Top Cut against my good buddy Ollie, that was playing his first tournament. So how did that go?
Yeah, so we decided to play top 8 on the same day and then do top 4 the day after, as the prizing is more consequential from top 4 onward. Played against Ollie, who is a very seasoned Dragon Ball player, very accomplished Dragon Ball player, but this was his first big Battle Spirits tournament, so to get top 8 with little testing immediately was very well done from him. Again, it was just white aggro, so he who draws well wins, and I drew well, so I won. And then yeah, we broke apart for the day, went out, have many a tale to regale from that lovely night out, but I shan't waste our viewers' time. Those who were there know how magical and intense the night was. Me, Emmy, a few others ended up out very, very late. I got back at like maybe 3, 4 with the clocks changing. It was really not the best top 4 preparation, and I was just of the mindset that like I'm in top 4. It doesn't really matter. It is what it is. I'll probably lose. I'll probably just go in tomorrow, lose, and then I'll go back and sleep in a ditch somewhere. So like show up the next day, very wounded internally, but you know, we sit down, we play game 1 against Aoife. She was playing like a Frost Tiger white tempo sort of list, but she was like well versed in the matchup, well prepared for the matchup. She had a lot in the side for the Iron matchup as well, so I was honestly expecting to lose, but yeah, you still show up and do your hungover best. Having said that, game 1, I didn't know what Frozen Waterfall did, so I lost to dropping back a list, thinking that my Nova would kill one of the Frost Tigers, and it didn't. I'm just there like, oop, I put all my eggs in that Bacillus Nova play, and it whiffed, so I lose. Well, I didn't even lose straight away, but at that point I was just like, I might as well scoop, and just out of embarrassment, really. And so at that point we were 35 minutes in. Like, you lose game 1 in 35 minutes against white control, you're like, it's probably it. So the only real strat for me was just to try and aggress as quickly as possible. Thankfully, again, base Nebula Dragon went very in, got the chip in, dealt the 2 damage. I think set up an ascend later on as well. Like, very cheeky, came clutch, managed to claw back game 2 in about 15 minutes, which left us a bit of time for the last one. And it was actually quite an interesting time on the round sort of situation, because I did have Nova, so I was just like, okay, I'm gonna get you to 4 life, and then I'm gonna do nothing, and then I win. But then the issue sort of became, well, do I heal it? I had the last turn in the 4 turns. I was like, do I heal on the first turn that I have or the last turn that I have? So I had 2 ice shields, so I was like, well, if I just heal an ice shield, I should be fine anyway. Like, it shouldn't matter. I think there are a couple of other considerations, like maybe, oh yeah, counter sword was a consideration. I was like, if I leave all my eggs in the basket of the last turn, she might counter
And the
sword.
2 damage, right? Like,
Yeah.
now it's a bit different, I think, time on the round with 2 symbols.
Exactly. Yeah, I chose to do the heal on the first available turn to me. So she was on 3 life, I was on 3 life. I heal back to 5, thinking that even through the double damage, I should be fine. In the end, she had 2 counter sword, but I don't think she had a way. Or maybe she did. I don't know, but she said that she didn't have a way to do both counter sword and frost tiger in the same time. I think she burst the counter sword, maybe. I'm not too sure exactly how it panned out, but in the end, I was. Oh yeah, so she burst one of the counter swords, hoping to swing with frost tiger, get me to 4. After she'd used the first counter sword to put herself on 4, so that I would play a when summoned, and she'd counter sword and win immediately. That was what she was trying to do, rather than just cast both counter swords that turn and then try and do something. But in the end, I was able to just block with Rubeus, Ice Shield from hand, and that was it. So, yeah, pretty cheeky top 4. And then, yeah, for the finals, the video is up on Ayumu's channel. Shout out Ayumu. The full video is there. You can watch it at 1.5 times speed, as there is no time in the finals. And yeah, that was a really fun game. Like, because I've been in 2 finals, but the first one was last year's launch event where there was still time. Not having time was like a great switch up, I guess. Like, you get a lot of time to think about things. I was still playing fairly quickly, but you know, it's just nice to know that you don't have to worry about time, and it's
Less
like a
pressure.
Nova Mirror is just gonna be like who wins game 1, and then you got the Nova heal. So yeah, it gave a lot of breathing room. And it's quite an intricate mirror match as well. Obviously, it is very high rolly, where it's like, okay, one of you Star Blast, draw 4. It's like, it can be very swingy like that, but there's a great degree of symmetry to it as well. So yeah, it was interesting for sure. I mean, I haven't rewatched the match yet, but I think there'll definitely be some things to take when I do. And in the end, yeah, I think Backless was very clutch in both games. In game 1, my Canyon stuck. He didn't really see an Andromeda the whole time. So I got better hand filtering and won through that. And then in game 2, as much as I complimented Ancient Draw, his first 2 Ancient Draws bottom decked 2 Big Bang and 1 Gray, and 1 Ice Shield as well, I think. So firstly, I'm like, okay, well, I know he plays 3 and 3, so he's probably stretched in terms of ways to cheat out the Ascends. So like, by keeping his reduction off board, it meant that he was having to hard cast a lot of things, which wasn't really favorable for him. And then later on, when he used 3 Ice Shield, I'm like, okay, well, the last Ice Shield is pretty close to the bottom of his deck. Like, he set a burst later on, and I'm like, well, it has to be counter sword, because, you know, it's not Ice Shield, and in the end, it was counter sword. So yeah, the Ancient Draw giveth, the Ancient Draw taketh away, but certainly gave to me quite a lot. I think in that game, actually, I Ancient Draw revealed 2 Iroh, was like, oh. So yeah, can be.
It's a great game. We're gonna link it for everyone to watch, because it's a really good watch. I think you both played super well.
So yeah, congratulations again, Harry. Our champion, our hero. We'll be like I said, all traveling to Pro Tour together. And yeah, there's the there we go in your deck, I hope, Harry.
Get us to 13,000 subs, and you can have one of them.
13,000. That sounds good. So yeah. But no, we're gonna have to wrap up here soon. But we do have a few questions for you, Harry, from our lovely boys in the Nexus Discord, which you should come and join, guys. It's getting bigger and better by the day. Lots of games happening, lots of discussions happening. You can come and harass Harry for his deck ideas and do all that kind of thing. But yeah, we have some questions for you, Harry, so I'm going to fire away now with the first one. And this one is from Josh S. And what was your scariest potential / matchup that you had going into this tournament? What were you worried about most? And if you faced it, what was it?
I think Hydra, probably. Like, I only faced 2. It was quite an even spread, yeah. Like, I played 2 Hydra, 2 white aggro, 2 purple, 2 Ira, and 1 white control. It was probably the most ubiquitous meta spread that I could have had. But I was just fearing that it was going to be 4 Hydra and I lose to 2 of them because Hydra doing Hydra things. In the end, I won against 1 and lost against another. So it wasn't really like fearful in terms of like, oh, I can't win. It was just like the nature of Hydra is, you know, when they hit the high roll,
keep your fingers crossed. Yeah.
Exactly.
So Emmy, do you have a question from the list for our Harry?
Yeah, I have one from Matt. Shout out Matt G. So he asks, I think this is a great one for you. What would you say to someone who wants to improve their deck when their deck is off meta? Example, Yellow Fable Beast or Nocturna Curse Reanimator. Any deck building rules you guys swear by?
Yeah, I think the advantage to playing an off meta deck is that you can play against the meta and you have a great degree of certainty in terms of how your deck plays against the on decks, whereas they're gonna be like, oh, I don't even really know how this plays into it. I find this a lot when I do like multicolored decks and stuff like that, or just different sort of strategies where at a point they're like, especially with Battle Spirits where you can sort of run anything, they're like, I don't even know what's going to be in your deck. And that's a difficult thing in Battle Spirits. It creates a lot of hesitancy. So I think if you are like with Yellow, for example, again, Chaoki and his list was adapted to play more into Ira and Hydra better. He shifted it more into like running our Avatar and stuff like that, which is annoying, right? Like if you've just got 2 spirits on board and one of them's our Avatar, it's like there's never a good time for me to Ira here, or there's never a good time for me to Hydra here, and you're still able to apply enough pressure or summon a Fabled Beast, get your value. Like, so yeah, it's you do have to suffer a lot for a while. To use a contrary example, like in set 1, my teammate was playing control white, like the Axe Biter white, and I was playing red, like Nova red, and we had 2-3 weeks of playing multiple games every day, and I didn't take a single game for like 3 weeks, and I'm just there like, this matchup is impossible, like there's no way to beat it. But you just keep trying different things, pushing through, and eventually we came across the wonderful Sacred Thundering Peaks, which, as Emmy knows, is a true bit of Riz in last year's game.
So perseverance is very important then, and keeping a cool head when things seem impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Kieran, do you have a question for Harry from our lovely list?
You're on mute, Kieran.
It always happens. I have another question from one of our most dedicated viewers, Josh S. Once again, but this time
Congrats
he wants
to you,
to know.
Josh.
Yeah, this time he wants to know: was there any cards that really shined in matches, or like any cards that you didn't expect to work as well as it actually did in practice?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting Base Nebula Dragon to be legit. Like it was really good, really good. Maybe not so good that I'd run 2 of it, but as a one-off, it was extremely powerful. I'd also say like Big Bang Energy as well, surprisingly. Gray is pretty good. Obviously, like it's nice that it's the body that you Ira on top of, and if Ira is your main build around, then Gray naturally takes priority. But I think like we saw a lot of lists running for Gray. Say to use my round 4 against George, like there was a point where like he just had 4 Gray in hand and he'd already healed, and it's like the Gray is completely useless after that. Whereas Big Bang continues to be good even after you've healed. Like it's just a great tempo switch up. So yeah, I'd definitely make room for the third Big Bang energy going forward. I think the rest of it obviously is stuff that is impressive, like or played out impressively. It isn't to say like Blazing Boar, Impaler Forest, things like that aren't good. It's just like we know already how good Impaler is, Blazing Boar is. Again, Bacillus was really important. Rubeus is just ridiculously good in this deck. So the rest of it just kind of is the deck, I guess. In terms of underperformers as well, I'd say it was just like Dream Bomb and Deadly Balance. Like I was quite afraid of Maduke as well. A lot of people playing purple, so I thought 2 Dream Bomb was the safest hedge against it. It's the safest hedge against Hydra as well. But yeah, it was sort of mid. Like I don't even think Red needs much beyond the ice shields, but yeah, warrants further testing. Big Bang was sick for sure, and Ancient Draw was
Ancient Draw and Big Bang. Then, so we have 2 more quickfire questions, which are a bit more personal, not necessarily about the game for you, Harry. So one from Jamie, the Captain Soulcore, Mr. Soulcore, whichever kind of Soulcore you want him to be. If you had a victory song, what would it be, and why would it be Dota-Nightcore?
Yeah, for context, that's oh god, it's a Base Hunter song, but it's the original Swedish version of it, and all of Base Hunter's original Swedish songs aren't lyrics about forlorn love like the English releases. It's just lyrics about him being a big nerd, and this one is just him playing Dota a lot. And obviously every song is just miles better when it's sped up 1.5 times, just like Battle Spirit's gameplay videos.
As you can see on Ayumu's channel, link in the description.
Exactly.
And finally, from your top 8 opponent, Big O notation, Ollie, how do you keep your hair so stylish?
It's similar to Matt's question. It's through persistent trial and error and not being scared to take an L.
Perseverance.
Also, yeah, exactly. Like you, man, know I've had some dodgy trims back in day, and I don't even act like this is a good trim. It's just like I like cutting my own hair and I like growing it long. Obviously, genes play into it. Shout out my mom, I guess, because my dad's bald, so I probably don't get those genes from him. But my dad's a kind, intelligent man, so what's underneath the hair, that's what counts.
Alrighty, so yeah, that's pretty much it for today, guys. I'll do a quick question time on the round. Jamie gave us 2 questions, and this is part of his questions. So the question time on the round for you boys. Well, actually, first off, do some shout outs, Harry, before we move on. Of course.
Oh, there would be a lot. I mean,
compile it into one. We could do one of those like Family Guy style credit reels where it's like half a second and it shows every name at once, kind of thing.
Yeah, it was an amazing tournament. Like we got to see everyone. Obviously, the condensed player base meant that we did have a lot of team killing, a lot of friends playing against other friends. But I think that's a testament to how much our community is. It's crazy to think that a year ago we were all strangers, like none of us really knew each other, and now it's like we're all good friends, hanging out constantly, doing things constantly. You show up to a tournament, everyone knows everyone, and we're still getting new people as well. Like we're still getting new people getting added to the group chat or coming out on nights out with us. Like
I mean,
it absolutely awesome.
This tournament was really awesome. I feel like just the community's grown so much, and yeah, I mean, just all the people that are really, I mean, I know I was ill as hell, and I probably didn't look very kind of like the person you want to speak to at the time, but everyone was so nice about the podcast and stuff, and it's, we really do appreciate you all, and we're kind of doing it for you as a community to help make this game grow. It's just fantastic to see, you know, 63 people, was it, or 64 people on a tournament that, you know, no one was getting paid. It's more than Coventry last year, where there was money involved. So, you know, that for me, albeit small, that still shows growth in our community in the UK. So fantastic.
And also
stuff.
20 of those 63 or so out with us on the Saturday night, getting drinks, celebrating Marv's not birthday, taking
it was definitely
in the face.
Yeah, it was definitely the most awesome and wholesome, I think, weekend.
For a bit of context on the Marv's birthday thing, basically, so Emmy booked the night out, and it's an old prank that I've played before on tour with my band. I just said to Emmy, tell them that it's Marv's birthday. And it's basically because normally, like, when you book a big sort of thing like that, they'll do something complimentary. And sure enough, Marv got the full works. You got a bottle of prosecco with a firework on it.
I'll put a picture of him. I'm sure he won't mind.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Maybe we can get a video of him holding it real quickly, like snapped in now, and then snapped away.
He delivered a speech that was.
An epic speech as well about being reborn with the game and stuff, like he lived the life of Nova fighting Majuk. But yeah, no, brilliant.
Yeah, shout out to everyone who joined us.
Brilliant time.
And to the ones that couldn't make it as well.
But yeah, so quick question time on the round. Was Hydra overrated?
No.
What do you reckon, Kieran? You played it. Do you think it's overrated, or do you think it's as good as it?
I'll still compare it to a Gale situation, just on a higher power level. People said it was tier 0, and they cried and cried and cried.
It's not quite there. It's not quite there. But
yeah, people cry a bit too easily, I think.
But I don't think it's overrated personally. I think it's very, very strong. I didn't do the best with it, but it was very minor mistakes probably on my part. Probably a pilot thing from my perspective.
I don't think Hydra was overrated, but I want to say that people maybe underrated a lot of the other decks in the meta.
True.
That's what I would say.
What about you, Emmy?
Yeah, similar, but I think what we need to realize is that, I mean, they can throw like anything in this game, and eventually, like, I think the best part is really figuring out the countermeasures and different strategies. I was like stopping myself from saying something because we could end up in a situation with another X-Spider or Depths, but I still think that, like, we could have lived with those two cards. Maybe not X-Spider, but I think we could have lived with Depths. But nonetheless, I still think Hydra is super powerful still. We're just like, overall good players find good ways to counter it and play against it, and as
a little bit of luck as well.
Yeah, of course, it's a card game.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, so thank you very much, guys, and congratulations again to our King Harry. Big round of applause.
One thing, Josh.
Yeah, go ahead.
April 13th. What is happening April 13th?
We are making, as a podcast, our commentary debut, and we will be commentating on a huge winner box tournament in Italia, Forza Italia, with over 60 players, potentially going to oversell our pre-season grand open. But yeah, we will be there. It will be 6 rounds with a top cut. Me, Kieran, and Harry. Emmy actually won't be with us to commentate on his countrymen. But
for bias right now, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. We kicked him out for the day. But no.
You're protesting.
Yeah,
yeah,
huge shout out to the community because like Niccolo, Nick Mer in the community, I think he's known as, he put this together with a bunch of other folks, and like there's a lot of people playing the game, and maybe like this is also gonna show Bandai that like the locations for tournaments needs to be considered a little bit more, because people would travel if it wasn't that complicated to travel to certain locations, or like not complicated but inconvenient. So
I mean,
yeah, it's gonna
yeah,
be
and
a lot of players.
we're happy to shine a light on this tournament, and just try and get it out there, let's get this community pumping and get this game going, and make sure we have a year free kind of thing.
100%. Live streaming on Saturday 13th, 9 a.m. UK time.
And that'll be on our YouTube channel or Twitch?
YouTube channel.
Yeah, we can do YouTube. We can do YouTube now, though, because we're above 100 subs, I think, is the benchmark for that. But yeah, we're at 230 subs now. A little update on our subs, guys. So thank you for all of that. But yeah, let's stop waffling now and let our viewers go. So thank you very much again, guys. If you are still here, give us a like, give us a comment. And Harry, you are the champ. And we love you.
Thank you, guys. I love you too.
Goodbye. Peace.
Goodbye.